Hi guys, and welcome back to another video where today we're going to be attempting to predict the 2019-2020 Premier League table. Now before we get started, I'm also going to be running a fantasy football league again this season. All you need to do is go to fantasy.premierleague.com, register as usual and put in the code CFA7C8. That's CFA7C8. For those of you who were playing last year, I think you get automatically put into the league anyway, but best of luck with that. But for now, let's just crack on and get stuck into the predictions.
Okay, so first up we're going to go for the teams who we think are going to get relegated. So bottom of the table this season, I'm going to go for Brighton. Now, they've brought in a couple of players, most notably Trossard from Genk, I believe. I think he's doing well in pre-season, but then again, you haven't really expanded from much on your squad from last season. I believe you've lost a few players as well. You probably might lose Lewis Dunk if Harry Maguire ends up going to United, but they still do have Glenn Murray up top. It's just if he gets injured, then I think you still have a Dome, but I don't think he's just not good. I don't think he's good enough at all for the Premier League. He hasn't impressed me. He didn't impress me at all in the last few seasons he's been there, but I don't know, there's something concerning me about Brighton because they should have really gone down last season after Cardiff were pretty much robbed of their Premier League status. But yeah, I can't see it going well either this season. They brought in Graham Potter from down the road, and to be honest, he did all right there last season at the other club in South Wales, but I can't see him doing well in the Premier League. He's never managed here before. And I think he's probably going to get sacked around January, February because it's going to go badly. So bottom for Brighton. In 19th position, I've gone for newly promoted Norwich. Now, many fans might be shocked with this one because many people like the style of play that Norwich have and the way they sort of
play well.
Yeah, they play good football. How they tore up the Championship last season, but you've only spent. I know. Your I believe your sporting director said that there is no money available this season, but you've only spent 1.1 million. On Sam Byram and David Adshed from Rochdale, and you've
also brought in Ralph Farman as well, a goalie from Schalke.
Yeah, and Joseph Drimic as well. But to be honest, as proven in the Premier League in recent seasons, you just got to spend money unless you bring in some really good loan or free transfers that completely change you. But I don't know, for some reason I don't think Norwich have done that. Really, and they just have not spent enough to establish themselves at this level. So sorry to Norwich fans, but I think you're going to finish 19th. Then in 18th position, I've gone for Newcastle United. Now, Toonami. Now, let's just say you've signed Joe Linton, which absolutely smashed your transfer record. I did not expect that to happen, and you look like you're going to sign a few more players as well. But you've got problems such as Steve Bruce and Mike Ashley that are sort of covering. That are sort of hiding behind all these problems and some of the lack of depth in the rest of the squad. And to be honest, I just think Newcastle are going to absolutely capitulate this season. So I reckon Steve Bruce will get sacked. They'll bring someone better in than Steve Bruce, I reckon, because he hasn't really done well in the Premier League in recent years. As in, he got Hull relegated. He did get him back up and then resigned. But I can't see him staying up this season, so 18th for Newcastle.
Okay, in 20th position for me, bottom of the table, I'm afraid it's Norwich. They did play good football last season, surprised everybody by getting automatic promotion, but they haven't really brought anybody in, as you said. Yeah. Attacking-wise, are they going to cause problems in the Premier League? Maybe for a few clubs, but they're coming up against better defenses this season than they did in the Championship. Defensive-wise as well, they were all over the place a little bit last season. I know they improved towards the end of the season defensively, although I don't think they kept a clean sheet in their last 6 matches. Bit concerned about their defence as well, coming up against world-class strikers as well. So overall, they probably get a good few results here and there, but ultimately I can see them going down and probably in last position.
But anyway, leading on from that, Timo Pukki, of course, top scorer last season, but
yeah, he did well.
He's never been proven at a top level. Like, he couldn't even get goals in Scotland.
No, but he did in the Championship last year, and the Championship is a fairly it is a good standard, yeah. And it's a hard league. That league.
It is a hard league, but then again, I don't.
Yeah, it'd be
I think
interesting
he'll
to
struggle.
see who Pookie actually scored against last season. Did he score a lot of goals against the teams at the upper end of the league?
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay, in 19th position, I've gone for Brighton. Like yourself, relegation again. Sorry, Brighton. I think you'll go down, unfortunately. You have brought in, is it Trossard, who as you said, from Genk, scored a hatful of goals in Belgium. I think he's a left winger as well, so he does look at an exciting player. I think he's about 24, so coming to the peak of his powers as well. I think he'd be a good addition up front, as we said. Glenn Murray getting on in years, and the other strikers that they've got in Brighton aren't scoring enough goals, and that's going to be a big problem.
Really.
No, defensively as well. Okay, in previous seasons it's been their strength, but with Harry Potter coming in, I think the style of play that he wants to employ is going to be a lot different to what Chris Hughton did, who was more pragmatic, whereas Graham Potter, thank you, Nathan.
It's quite alright.
I think, as I've said, he the way he played at Swansea at this expansive game, I don't think Brighton have got the players to do that, although they have got some decent players in midfield.
How is he going to get Shane Duffy, and if Lewis Dunk stays, how is he going to get them playing out from the back?
And that could spell curtains for them. So unfortunately, Brighton, I can see you going down this season. In 18th position, I put Sheffield United. Really wanted them to stay up. They have made a load of signings. Oliver McBurney, I think is that a record signing, which is just over 17 million from Swansea. He does score goals, but how is he going to get on in the Premier League? I don't know. He does score goals, but I don't really rate him that much. Is it Luis Musset as well? Another centre forward coming in for Bournemouth for 10 million. I don't think he did a lot at Bournemouth. I can't even remember how well he got on there. Callum Robinson, he is a good Wigan coming in for Preston. Can he make the step up to the Premier League? Some players do, some players don't. But I'd really like Sheffield United to stay up. I just don't think they've got enough there to stay up. Defensive wise, okay, they bought in Jagielka from Everton, but he's 38 now. He's lost all his pace. I know he used to be pacer in his younger days, but he's there really for the changing rooms and to give a little bit of Premier League experience. But ultimately, I think the Blades are going to go down, which is unfortunate because I'd like them to stay up.
Okay, moving on from 17th to 12th, I've gone for Sheffield United to narrowly miss the drop. Now, like you said, bringing in loads of players, I think they've sort of brought in players suited to the Premier League as well, I reckon. Like, I think McBurney needs to get tested and get that step up to the Premier League as well. It'd be interesting to see how he does, but unlike Cardiff, who went down last season, they actually brought in some proper Premier League experience and a leader at the back, which I reckon will proper help them out.
Yeah, but is he going to play much?
But that's the question, will he play much? I think he'll get the odd games, but I think he'll get them into order, and of course Chris Wilder, a fantastic manager, so yeah, I think they'll just narrowly stay up, and I think 17th for Sheffield United. In 16th position, I've gone for Burnley. Now, they did struggle last season, but they did manage to survive at the end, going on a good run of form. They have signed Jade Rodriguez, which adds to their really good attacking record, with the likes of Chris Wood, Vidra and Ashley Barnes as well.
Barnes is a good player, yeah.
Yeah, Barnes is a good player. But then again, they did struggle last season. They don't have Europa League football this season, but then again, they went out in the second qualifying round. So they really did struggle last season anyway. They've lost Tom Heaton as well, so they need to bring in another backup goalie.
Well, who have they got there?
They've got Joe Hart and Nick Pope as well.
That's right,
so
both good
goalkeepers, but I'm not sure if Pope's still injured or if he will be as good as he was 2 seasons ago. But yeah, I think they're going to struggle this year, but I don't think they'll get relegated, so 16th. Now 15th have gone for a bit of a cautious one in Crystal Palace. Now they've lost Aaron Wan-Bissaka, which is a massive loss in the back of defence. They might be losing Wilfried Zaha as well if he leaves for Arsenal or even Everton.
I don't think he's going to go Arsenal now, because Arsenal have signed that new winger, haven't they?
Yeah.
Is it Pepe?
Pepe, yeah. But I reckon he might go to Everton in the end because they need someone sort of like that. But I reckon I think they're going to lose him, so that's why I think they've put him 15th. They've got some good players such as Milivojevic and some good
Townsend as well.
Andros Townsend and good players at the back, but yeah, I think they might struggle this season. I think Roy's going to run out of steam a bit, so 15th for them. In 14th, we've gone for Southampton. This is Rob Hasenhüttl's, I believe, first or second transfer window in charge of Southampton.
Second, is it? I think.
Yeah, I think so. He's brought in Che Adams from Birmingham City, which is a really good sign, and I think they need some goals up top, really. They've got Charlie Austin, but they've struggled to score goals in the past, really, so they sort of needed that. And I think they'll continue as they did last season and be a strong team. So 14th position for them. In 13th, we've gone for Bournemouth. Callum Wilson, Josh King up front. They've bolstered their defence with Lloyd Kelly coming in from Bristol City, which is a good signing. And I think it's just going to be another standard season for Bournemouth. So 13th. In 12th, I've gone for newly promoted Aston Villa as my highest finished promotion team. They spent, I believe, 135 million, which is a bit ridiculous. Some people think I might be putting them a bit too high, but looking at some of the players they brought in, they got Premier League experience, they got Tom Heaton in, they've got Wesley and a few other players from Club Bruges as well, and really bringing in about 12, 13 players on the cheap, well, for their price range anyway, and putting them in and bringing them in unlike Fulham, who just spent big and didn't bring in the right players and really missed out parts of their squad, such as their defence. So you can't really compare the two sides, so I've put Villa 12th.
In 17th for me, I've gone for the Toon at Newcastle. I think they're just going to stay up by the skin of their teeth. A few weeks ago, I'd have said they would have gone straight back down, but they have brought in, is it Joleton, the Brazilian centre-forward?
Yeah, he came in 7 goals last season.
I know he's not prolific, but from what I've seen of him so far for Newcastle, he looks like he's going to be a good player for them. You know, he's maturing all the time. They've also brought in, is it Maxim, Saint Maxim from Nice, and we saw him. I think he came on as a substitute, and he looked quite lively for Nice when we saw him. He came in for just over £16 million, and they've got the likes of Almer on there. They've got Voldemort still there, and for Jonjo Shelby, this is a really big season for him. He really needs to step up. He was knocking on the door of England a couple of seasons ago, or a few seasons ago, so big season for him. If they can stay in the Premier League this year, then maybe they can kick. Yeah, they'll be
under Steve Bruce.
Maybe they can kick on next year, but I think they'll just stay up by the skin of their teeth. I actually predicted them to go down last season, but I think they'll stay up this season. In 16th position, I've gone for Burnley. Burnley, yeah, I think they're going to overall struggle this season, a little bit like Newcastle, but up front, they got Rodriguez who's come in now. They got Chris Wood, I think he's bagged something like 7 goals in pre-season, maybe even more than that. They got Ashley Barnes as well. They got good players at the back, Trzaskowski. Midfield, okay. I think they could do a little bit of work in midfield, but ultimately they're not going to have the best of seasons, but they will stay in the division. In 15th position, I've gone for Aston Villa. Now, they brought in a shed loads of players, as we've already said. Are they going to do a Fulham or not? We don't know. As you said, they spent about 155 million. Some of those signings have been really good. For Wesley, centre-forward from Club Bruges, and his teammate, I think his name's Marvellous, Nakumba, and seeing him, I've watched a little bit of Nakumba, and he's strong in the tackle, and I think he's known as the vacuum cleaner or something from his teammates in Club Bruges. He looks a good player. Matt Targett coming in, a left back from Southampton. Douglas Luiz from Manchester City is a good signing as well. I don't think Manchester City could keep hold of him, something to do with the transfer rules and how many games he's got to play and all this sort of thing. There's some sort of point system that goes on in there, so that's a good signing. Yeah, some of the other signings, maybe not.
Tyrone Mings, I don't think so.
Yeah, jury's still out on Tyrone Mings, I think. Jota as well, coming in from Birmingham, not sure about him. Goalkeeper wise, I know they were after Etheridge from Cardiff, but
no chance.
They've gone for Heaton, and Heaton's a very good goalkeeper.
Former Cardiff player as well.
Former Cardiff, England international as well. So yeah, I can see Aston Villa. I think their fans will be satisfied that they stay up this season, and they can spend again and re-strengthen again next season if they stay in the league, and I think they will by finishing 15th. In 14th position, I've gone for Bournemouth, establishing themselves really now in the Premier League. What worries me a little bit about Bournemouth is their away form, because I don't think they did too well last week. Away from home, and they could lose against anyone. So it's their home form that's really, again, going to keep them in the division. Although I think they got enough quality throughout their ranks to keep away from just above relegation as the relegation zone as well. They brought in the likes of Arnaut Danjuma, a left winger from Club Bruges, who looks an exciting prospect. Philip Billingham from Huddersfield, Premier League experience there. Lloyd Kelly looks a good signing from Bristol City. Left back, although I think he can actually play as a centre back as well, so that looks to be a good signing. But overall, I think it's as you are with Bournemouth, and I can see the Cherries finishing in 14th position.
Another solid season.
Yes. In 13th position, I've gone for Crystal Palace. Okay, as you've already said, and everybody knows that Wan-Bissaka has gone to Manchester United, so a big loss there. Especially, I think he was top stats defender or something in the Premier League last season that everybody seems to mention. But big rumours that Wilfried Zaha is going to leave as well. He wants to leave, but I don't think he's going to leave. Arsenal, as we've touched on, I don't think they're going to bring. He's going to go to Arsenal. Now I think he's an Arsenal fan as well as Zaha's, but I think they're going to keep hold of him. What concerns me a little bit about Crystal Palace is where are all their goals going to come from. That's a big burden on Zaha's shoulder if he does stay. But they've also got Benteke, and is Benteke still there?
Yeah, he's still there.
Yes, and he hasn't scored prolifically for quite a while now. So 13th position. It is very difficult to all these sort of mid-table teams to predict exactly where they're going to finish. So in 12th position, and with no real danger of going down this season, I don't think, is Southampton, the Saints. Hassan Huttle. Second transfer window, I think it is. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he really looks like he's got Southampton playing with a lot more confidence now. Playing some good football. Danny Ings has signed permanently for them in was it 13.5? No, in almost £20 million move from Liverpool. They bought in Che Adams, who I'm really excited to see if he can step up to the Premier League. He's a real good player. Bought him in for £15 million. And Moussa Djenepo, I think that's how I pronounce it, a left winger, coming in from Belgium from Standard Liège. So it would be interesting to see how he gets on as well. But yeah, overall, I think Southampton, I don't think they could be knocking on the door of the likes of Wolves and Leicester, that sort of calibre, but I think they're going to have a good season and maybe kick on again next season where they can bring in some more players. But and this season I can see them finishing in 12th.
Now we're going to go from 11th to 6th. Now in 11th place I've gone for West Ham. Really strong squad with the likes of Yarmolenko, Felipe Anderson, Chicharito, Declan Rice to name a few. They've also brought in Sebastian Haller as well, who scored loads of goals in pre-season, I believe.
36 million they spent on him from Frankfurt.
That's cheap as anything, in my opinion, for a player of his quality, really. 25 years old, looking good for him, really. I think he'll score a load of goals this season. West Ham are looking really strong. However, I do think that they might struggle at the back, but they do have the likes of Declan Rice there, so I don't think they'll do as badly as I think. So I'm going to put them 11th, keep it safe there. In 10th, now, I am probably going to get a lot of hate for this, but I have put Chelsea in 10th.
Why?
Now, they've got a transfer embargo. Frank Lampard's come in and he hasn't got any Premier League experience at all.
Of course he has, he's played there.
He's played there, but he doesn't have any Premier League managerial experience. They've got rid of their star player in Eden Hazard. They've got their attack is looking, in my opinion, really weak. Giroud, I don't rate him as a striker at all.
He's won the World Cup.
He has won the World Cup, but then look at how many shots.
He's good in the air.
He got like one goal the entire tournament.
He's good in the air. He's won the World Cup, and you could probably walk faster than him.
Yeah, you can walk faster. I just don't rate him. They got Willian and Pedro, who I don't.
Tammy Abraham's come back into the fold as well.
Yeah, but he hasn't been good in the Premier League at all. He's sort of the average Championship player.
I've heard he's done okay in pre-season in a few as well.
Alright, they have got Mason Mount and all those sort of players as well.
Good
he's alright, but to be honest, I just can't see Chelsea doing well this season at all. I think they'll have a strong start, but then I think they'll start to go downhill as they see the real weakness in their squad depth as well, and the fact that they don't really have that standout player that each of the top 6 have, or should I say about the top 7 or 8 nowadays, if you include the likes of Watford, Leicester and Wolves in there. They don't have that strong player, so yeah, I think they can struggle. And as well,
N'Golo Kante is that player.
He is that player, but then again, will Lampard play him in position?
I think he will.
CDM? I think he will. But I still think Chelsea are going to struggle, and I'm going to put them 10th this season. In 9th place, I've gone for Everton. They have lost Idrissa Gueye now, I believe, as well. But they have brought in Fabian Delph, who I think is a really good player, who was really good at Aston Villa.
Kurt Zuma as well.
He's
gone back to Chelsea, hasn't he? So that is a bit of a blow for the Toffees.
That is a bit of a blow. They've got a strong defence as well. They also need to sign a striker, which is what they're looking for since Czech Tosin, and don't even get me started on Umar Niasse. He can't even shoot. That's all I can see. So they might have some issues up front, but I think they will sign a striker either now or in January. So I think that'll push them to 9th position this season. And I think Marco Silva might get sacked at the end of the season if he doesn't get them any higher.
Wow.
Yeah, because they're trying to push for top 6. An 8th position I've gone for Watford. I think they're going to improve on from this season. They've got some good players such as Delafeu, Holabar and all that lot. I think they'll improve. Javi Gracia will bring in a few more faces as well, I reckon, either now or in January. Javi Gracia, I proper rate him as a manager as well, so I think if they'll finish 8th. In 7th, probably going to get more stick in the comments for this one, but I've gone for Man United. Now, you can't bring in... It seems that you can't bring in any transfer targets at all, because none of the players want to go there. You've got Wan-Bissaka, and yes, you've got Dan James, but you've got to also look at your other problems.
And Maguire has just signed as well.
Maguire has just signed as well.
For some ridiculous...
85 million.
80 million,
yeah.
85, something like that.
But you've also got to look at your other problems, such as your defence is looking pretty shocking. You've still got the likes of Phil Jones there, and it's looking dodgy as well. Your midfields can be a bit iffy sometimes, and then you're quite weak up front and on the wings as well, in my opinion. Well, on the wing, Alexis Sanchez hasn't really overwhelmed you much, and your squad depth is looking pretty poor as well. So I think you're going to struggle. And let's just say Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, terrible manager. I think he only seems to work in.
I'm going to love the comment section.
Yeah, I can't wait to reply to a few of your comments as well. He only seems to do well in Norway. Of course, he absolutely crashed Cardiff into crisis when he was at our club, bringing in some... Well, he started good, but then went horrific. Saw the same with Man United last season. He's going to struggle like he did at Cardiff. Brought in, well, let's just say he spent way too much money and then ended up in the bottom half of the table. So, yeah, I think they won't do as badly as many of the other teams, but I think they'll finish 7th this season. In 6th position, I've gone Wolves. Jimenez has signed permanently, which is a great signing. He scored loads of goals last season. They've also bolstered on their squad, bringing in a guy from Milan as well. And yeah, I think they'll just have another solid season. So, 6th position, Wolves.
11th position, I've gone for West Ham. Now, a lot of people are tipping these to finish a lot higher than 11th. However, even though they've got a very, very good squad up front, I think they're a little bit light. I know they've got Hernandez and they've just brought in Haller from Frankfurt for that 36 million. If he gets injured, they haven't got a lot up top there. Midfield-wise, looking very, very good though. As we said, Declan Rice, Anderson. You've got Jack Wilshere is still there as well. So I think they're going to have a fairly decent season, but they may come a cropper in a few matches, and they're going to have some good results as well. But just below that halfway. In 10th position, I've gone for Watford. Now, last year I tipped them to be relegated or around the relegation zone. This year, I think they're going to have a solid season yet again. They were fantastic last season when they come down to Cardiff City Stadium, one of the best teams that actually rocked up at the ground. So they haven't really been that active in the transfer market. They have brought in Craig Dawson in from West Brom, and João Pedro from Fluminense from Brazil for 2.25 million. So, but overall, their squad from last year should be good enough to probably get them in around that where they finished last season. And I'm gone for 10th for Watford. In 9th position, now you said Man United were going to finish 7th. I've gone for 9th. This is a transitional period for Manchester United. And 9th position, I don't think the Man United fans should be too disheartened with this position. It's a massive rebuild that has got to take place at Manchester United. They've already started this process with the likes of Dan James, Wan-Bissaka, both exciting young players. They brought in Harry Maguire now for that 85 million. So they are stepping in the right directions, but they have got a lot of problems with their current squad, and a lot of those need to be moved on. It doesn't look like that's happening at the moment, so I can't see them really threatening the top 6. They had a terrible end of season as well, coming a cropper against, well, they even lost at home against Cardiff on the last day of the season, didn't give their fans anything to shout about there. And I think they're going to start the season off well. Pre-season they've looked okay. and probably in the first month. But I think you mentioned it yourself that I think they're gonna peter out and they're gonna have some real problems. But it is a rebuilding process, so
United fans, be patient.
Yeah, be patient. There's nothing. A mid-table finish. It's going to take them a few years for them to be challenging again, and if they've got to take a season or two in mid-table, take it.
I mean, you're not exactly struggling in the 4th division, are you? So I don't know what they're moaning about.
No, but they'll say this is Man United,
If I don't care, it's Man United.
And all that sort of thing.
The thing is, look what happened to Leeds. They were finishing first, second in the Premier League, and then they go straight down to League 2.
Yeah, and then they've been in the Championship for at least a decade now in that division. So yeah, I don't think they will go down. I can't see them ever going down. Really, Manchester United with the money and the resources they've got there, the hierarchy won't let that happen, and the global brand that they've got there, they need to stay in the Premier League. But I can see mid-table finish there for 9th position for the Red Devils. In 8th position, I've gone for Wolves now. We all know that Wolves are in Europa League action. So will that have an effect on their squad? I know they're not carrying the biggest for strength and depth. They have got a fantastic first 11, probably first 14, 15 as well. They've signed, as you've said, Jimenez permanently now as well, and Dodonka. In from Milan has come Catroni as well as centre forward, so that'll complement them up front, taking the burden off Jimenez. They've left a couple of players go down to the Championship, Helder Costa, I think, and Cavallero to Fulham. So if they can let those players go, then the rest of the team should bode well. But I think it's going to be another strong season for Wolverhampton, and 8th position, I'm sure their fans will be very happy with that. In 7th position, I've gone for the Toffees, Everton, probably a little bit higher than maybe they should be with the squad that they've currently got. I've already said they've lost a couple of players in Zuma and Gay. They've both left the club, but Andre Gomez has signed permanently this season, so to nail him down is excellent. And they've also brought in a defensive midfielder by the name of Jean-Philippe Mamin, I think it is, from Mainz for £22.5 million. So he's going to step into that defensive hole that Gay has left. He came in from Mainz. Fabian Delph has come in as well to add a little bit of experience into the central midfield berth. But their main cogs in the Everton machine of Richarlison and Sigurdsson are still there. And Sigurdsson, he's on set pieces, so he looks to he'll get a bag full of goals, I'm sure, this season. So I'll probably put him in my fantasy football squad as well. So Everton, 7th position for me. In 6th position, like you, Chelsea, I think are going to, not going to really struggle, but they're not going to be in the Champions League positions this season. A lot of their loanees, their young players, are coming back into the club because of the transfer situation at Chelsea. Can Tammy Abraham take on that responsibility up front? I know they've got Giroud, and is Batshuayi, I think he's come back in on loan as well, but Pedro, Willian still there, centre midfield. You've got N'Golo Conte and Jorginho, who was brought in last season. Ross Barkley has had I'm hearing he's had a fantastic pre-season as well. So may start off well, but then ultimately, like yourself, I think they're at this moment in time, Frank Lampard at the helm, I think they're just going to finish in 6th position.
Now moving on to the top 5. In 5th have gone for Leicester City, a bit of a bold move. Now they've really strengthened their squad, bringing in the likes of Tielemans. I believe he was he on loan last season? I
think so. He's an excellent player though.
He's class as well. They've also brought in Chowdhury, which they've also put on a permanent signing as well. Really good side. They've also brought in Iosi Perez as well, who had a really good end to the season.
From Newcastle.
That shocked many Newcastle fans as well, that he played so well.
James Justin from Luton is an exciting fullback as well.
Yeah,
because Luton lost both their fullbacks in the close season.
Leicester, I think they're going to really push on this season. Brenda, of course, in charge. First full season in charge, and I think they're going to really do well, especially with the squad they have, the likes of Vardy up front, Maddison, and the rest of the lot as well. So they're going to finish 5th, I reckon. In 4th position, I've gone for Arsenal. Yet again, 4th. Aubameyang and Lacazette up front, world class. Midfield also strong, but then you look at the defence. Shokrat Mustafi is probably one of the worst defenders I've ever seen play football. I mean, is he even a footballer? That's all I can say. But yeah, being in all seriousness, really lacking in defence. That's what I think will make them struggle this season. But because of their prolific strike force as well, with also Iwobi on top of that as well, bringing in Pepe, a right winger from Lille as well. So yeah, I think they'll have a solid season. So 4th position for me. In 3rd, I've gone for Spurs. Harry Kane returns from injury. Of course, he was out most of last season because he was injured. Heung-min Son will probably be stronger than ever with Lucas Moura as well. They've also signed Ndombele.
Oh, he's a fantastic player. He looks really good.
When he was playing for Lyon, he looked absolutely solid. Tottenham also have a solid defence. Lloris can be a bit dodgy sometimes. Maybe a bit too many trips down the pub, I reckon. But but yeah, I think they'll have another solid season, so I can see them finishing 3rd. So now for the top 2. This season I've decided I'm going to put Liverpool in 2nd. They have. Well,
you don't think they're going to?
No, I don't think they'll become champions. They do have a few. They haven't really brought in anyone because they don't really have the money to spend this season. They've brought in Brandenburg as a backup in defence.
I don't think they really need to spend any.
No,
anyway.
they don't. But then again, I don't think they're as prolific as Man City are really.
I think they've got the money there. They've got more than enough money, European champions and everything, but they don't really need to spend it.
Like their squad's perfect. It's just they can't really push on to be that level that Man City are at. They've also brought in Harvey Elliott, wonder kid from Fulham as well, 16 years old, is looking quite good. He might break into the first team, doubt it. But yeah, I don't know, it's difficult, but I'm going to put Liverpool in 2nd. Then top of the table, as my champions, I've got Man City, brought in Rodri, and yeah, they look stronger than ever. I don't think they'll win I don't think they'll get as many points because of the amount of tournaments they're going to be in and what sort of trophies Pep wants to win. But yeah, I don't think they'll be as dominant this year, but I still think they'll win the league, so Man City top.
So my top 5 on Nathan, guess what, I have actually gone for exactly the same as you. In 5th position, no, I think you've copied me.
No,
in 5th position, I've gone for the Foxes, Leicester City. Excellent. A little bit concerning that Maguire has gone to Manchester United, but I'm sure they're going to bring somebody in, whether that is going to be Lewis Dunk. Whether he is good enough for the Foxes at that level, at the top of the Premier League, I don't know. Maybe they should be looking a little bit further abroad. I think Everton are in the transfer market for a centre back as well, and they've got their eyes on a few continental defenders. So I think maybe Leicester should be looking in that direction too. But I think they're going to have a very good season. Brenda, I actually have to say I rate him as a manager. Did ever so well at Liverpool, did fantastic at Celtic, but there's not that much competition there anyway. But since he came into Leicester last season, he's really done well, and they have got some very good players. I'm really excited to watch Tielemans again, another year in the Premier League. Chowdhury's coming through now as well. Yeah, they got some exciting players there at Leicester. And Maddison, another year in the Premier League, he's going to be a top player, or he already is a top player. Can he get into that England team though?
Exactly.
I think he can eventually. In 4th position, like you've gone for Arsenal, massive question marks over their defence. Going forward, well, excellent really. As we know, Aubameyang and Lacazette, another year in the Premier League. They brought in Pepe from Lyon, who
great signing.
Great signing. It is. They smashed their record. How much was Aubameyang when they signed him?
I don't think they signed him for. I think it was about 40 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they signed him for much.
Well, this guy Pepe's come in. What was it for 70 odd million? So, yeah. So Arsenal, I think they're just going to miss. They're not in the same league as Tottenham, Arsenal, and Liverpool at the moment, so they could be a fair way off. So, but for the North London rivals, I think they're going to be behind Spurs again this season. So yeah, in 3rd position, I have gone for Spurs. I don't think they can quite catch the likes of Liverpool and Manchester City at the moment. Maybe in a season or two. Fantastic stadium, of course, which was opened last year. They have brought in Ndombele, who looks a fantastic player. He's going to come into that central midfield berth. I think they haven't had a player really since is it Dembele who left for China, although Sissoko played ever so well last season. They've got an abundance of talent in those midfield berths, of course. Lamela, who's had a really good pre-season, I've heard. Eric Dyer's still there. Christian Eriksen still hanging around the club as well. Is he going? Is he staying? Looks like he's staying at the moment. Lucas Moura, who you've touched on as well. Up front, a little bit light, really. Son and Harry Kane, their talisman. But who left? Who was it who left this? Llorente has left the club. So maybe they could bring in another backup striker, somebody who doesn't really mind too much to be on the bench. Maybe an aging striker who's at the top of his game. Maybe Giroud.
Maybe.
I don't think that's going to happen somehow. But third for me for Spurs. And top two, I've gone for Liverpool again. I don't think they're going to be as close to Manchester City as they were last season.
Of course, they've got to play in the Club World Cup as well.
They've got to play. Season. Well, they've got to play in the Club World Cup. They're trying to defend the Champions League again.
FA Cup and League Cup as well.
Well, their three stars, their three front men have come back from the African Cup of Nations and the Copa America. I know the likes of Sergio Aguero from Manchester City have been there as well, and Jesus, but.
You've got Sane and Sterling as well.
Sterling has actually played up front for Manchester City in pre-season, bagged a few goals. But Liverpool, I can see finishing in second place. They got a fantastic back line in Robertson, Trent Alexander. I know I don't rate him too much as a defender, but going forward he's very good. But probably the best defender in the world that they've got there in
Virgil van Dijk.
Maybe De Ligt will get there eventually.
I doubt it. Well, no? I think you're. I mean, I think
he's signed for Juve now, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think De Ligt will overtake. I thought you meant De Ligt going to Liverpool for a second.
No. Virgil van Dijk. At this moment in time, he is the best. He was the best centre back I've seen at the Cardiff City Stadium. I think he was immense, really good. But I just don't think they're going to catch Manchester City this year, who I have got in first position, untouchable at the moment at the top of the Premier League. Maybe Pep's going to want them really to focus more on the Champions League, really. But I think they can battle on both fronts there, especially with Liverpool playing in this World Club Championship as well. So Manchester City for me is going to be the Premier League winners for the third
year on the trot.
Third season on the trot. So that concludes our prediction for the 2019-2020 Premier League season. As always, let us know who you think is going to end up as champions and who's going to get relegated from the Premier League. Remember to join our Fantasy Football League as well. Here we are. I'll put the league code there. It's appearing on the screen. We're going to be back with a prediction show again on Wednesday or in the early hours of Thursday. But for now, we'll bid you farewell and we'll see you in the next video.
Cheers, guys.